veterans fighting on their own battlefield.
The history of PTSD in World War I, World War II, and today.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, which is abbreviated as PTSD, is a mental disorder that occurs because of an event outside of normal life. This disorder causes symptoms such as reliving the specific event, seclusion from others, and other more serious symptoms. In PTSD, parts of a soldier's mind can change. The hippocampus, which sorts memories, can weaken significantly, as well as the amygdala, which stores emotional memories, can change to grow stronger. The World Wars were both major wars for advancement in electronico-mechanical weapons, which led to the advancement of cases and treatments of PTSD.
PTSD was diagnosed as shell shock, war neurosis, and war trauma in World War I, but was most commonly referred to as shell shock. The term shell shock was used because of the shrapnel and damage caused by new weapons used in World War I. This debris would fly close to the soldiers. Soldiers would lose their memory and sense of smell and taste. Throughout history, before the end of World War I, psychiatrists and doctors believed shell shock was caused by a physical injury of the brain. At the end of World War I, they came to the conclusion that it is the result of emotional injury. Treatments included electric shock therapy, shouted commands, isolation, and restricted diet. Many of the soldiers were close to hysteria. Soldiers who had these symptoms without being in battle were assumed to be weak and cowardly.
During World War II, soldiers were at a higher risk. There was this concept of total war. Total war is when the civilian population is targeted. For example, the Holocaust, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki. Psychiatrists were introduced to the fact that psychological weaknesses didn't have much to do with physical distress in combat. To reduce the recurring experiences from the battlefield, medical professionals were to administer sodium pentanol as well as distribute liquor to the affected soldiers. Medical officers were trained to notice the signs of combat exhaustion, which is what shell shock was diagnosed as in World War II. Robert W. Thrasher is a World War II veteran being interviewed to explain his PTSD symptoms.
I still have dreams, but they're crazy, they're just crazy. I don't remember them. They tell me at the VA to write them down, and I think I'll remember them. But some of them are just totally insane. I dream about old buddies and places we were, and we were moving all the time. I never talked about it for years, did I? The kids, when I did start talking about it, the kids didn't even hardly know I'd been in the Army. I used to tell them places I'd been, They didn't know that.
Actually, he started telling his grandson these stories to entertain him when we babysat for him. And then he decided his memory was getting kind of fuzzy, so he started writing.
Yeah, when you get old, you can't remember if you even had breakfast this morning, but you can remember what you ate 60 years ago. That's true. A lot of things you don't want to remember, are so horrible you don't remember them. I mean, people don't think about it, but in Germany and in
Even though both wars had similar treatments, World War II's were harsher. Weapons in World War I were developing, so in World War II, they were more advanced. The knowledge gained in World War I gave doctors a better understanding of battle fatigue in World War II. Even though shell shock, also known as battle fatigue, was diagnosed in both wars, it was not accepted worldwide. Today we know that COSR, Combat Operational Stress Reaction, is a precursor to PTSD. COSR is the during and shortly after period of time following a traumatic event. PTSD is the long-term effects. Its effects are also more extreme.
In 1980, battle fatigue was given the name we use today, post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD for short. Treatments today include dual modality medicines and therapy, which is the physical treatment of the affected parts of the brain, prolonged exposure therapy, which is re-experiencing the traumatic event, cognitive processing therapy, which is pushing the soldiers to think about the process of PTSD, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is having the soldiers think about their behavior, as well as service dogs. These dogs help bring out strong, positive emotions, are good partners in life, are good with taking orders to help servicemen that used to be in charge. They help reduce stress and are an excuse to get outdoors. Today, there are recorded 21.8 million veterans. 7% have PTSD. Out of that 7%, 50% seek treatments and 50% do not.
Even though we still use some of the same treatments today, we have a broader knowledge than during the World Wars. Today's treatments are more effective and diverse, whereas during the World Wars there were not as many. Treatments today are less violent and more mentally and emotionally compatible. Today we have more advanced medicinal understandings of PTSD.
The exploration of PTSD and the human mind in World War I and World War II has helped us better treat veterans returning home today, as well as exchange PTSD treatments to other militaries around the world. Encountering this obstacle throughout the years has helped our country better treat our wounded veterans.